Find the derivative of the function. Okay, in part A we have f x equals x raised to 7. We know from the power rule that whenever we have x raised to some power n, and when we find its derivative, then we get n coming towards the ground level x, and we decrease the exponent by 1, n minus 1. And we also know derivative of x is just 1. You can follow this rule and get 1. And when we have a constant, some number and x, and when we find derivative, that will be just the constant times the derivative of x, which is 1. Okay, so in part A we have x raised to 7. So from the power rule, the derivative is 7x 7 minus 1, 6. In part B we have a constant 120, and we know that derivative of constant function, when we find the derivative, that's just 0. It's a 0 function. Part C, 2 raised to 7, though it's got exponent, 2 raised to 7 is in fact a constant. Okay, 2 times 2 times 2, 7 times. So this is a constant. So like part B, its derivative is simply 0. Okay, do not confuse this with the power. There is no x involved. In part D, we have two terms, x squared and 1, and when we find its derivative, derivative of x squared is just 2x 2 minus 1 in the exponent, but which is 1. So it's 2x minus derivative of 1 is 0. So 2x minus 0, just 2x. Okay, and part E, we got 4x raised to 2.5 plus 2.5x. Then its derivative is, this 4 survives, x raised to 2.5. We need to use the power rule. So 2.5 comes to the ground level. 2.5 times 4, which is 10. X raised to 2.5 minus 1. We need to decrease by 1, which is 1.5. Plus 2.5x is like constant times x. And when we find the derivative, just constant survives. 2.5 times derivative of x is 1. We don't have to write that part, just 2.5. Part F, the derivative is, we got 3 terms. So derivative of 1 is 0, don't have to write, plus derivative of x is 1 minus x cube. From power rule, 3x 3 minus 1, which is 2. Okay, G, we got pi r squared. This is a function of r, similar to x is r. Okay, so when we find derivative with respect to r, pi is a constant. Okay, so pi is pi. Now we need to take the derivative of r squared, which is like x squared. Derivative of x squared is 2x, so r squared is 2r, but I'm going to write 2 at the front, 2r, plus r times pi squared. Pi squared is constant, by the way, that survives, times, and derivative of r is like derivative of x, which is 1. Pi squared times 1, you don't have to write. In H, we got a function of r, pi 4 over 3 pi r cube. 4 over 3 times pi is a constant, okay, and only r cube is a variable, so it's like x cube. So derivative is 4 over 3 pi survives, times r cube is like x cube, so 3r squared. And we can simplify, which is not needed, but we can cancel these two, and 4 pi r squared. In I, we have now a function of u. We need to rewrite, because we have a fraction which can be simplified in this way. 5u squared, move u squared to the top. Okay, that means minus 5 is on the top already. U squared, when we move u to the negative 2, that's on the top, u to the negative 2. Now we can take the derivative. So 2 times 5, 10 u, 2 minus 1 is 1, don't have to write, minus negative 2 times 5 is negative 10, that makes plus 10 u, negative 2 minus 1, which is negative 3. Okay, negative 2 minus 1. Here in the first term, 2 minus 1, which is 1. Here negative 2 minus 1, negative 3. This can be put on the bottom if you like, but we don't have to simplify here. Similarly, we can rewrite this function. Root 5x, how about writing in this way? Root 5 times root x. Root x is x raised to 1/2. Okay, minus, move this up, so root 5 is already on the top. This is like 1 over x. When we move to the top, that is x raised to negative 1. Okay, 1 over x is x raised to negative 1, and that's root 5 was already on the top. Now we can take the derivative. Okay, this is constant, survives root 5 times 1/2 to the ground level, 1/2 x, 1/2 minus 1, negative 1/2, minus root 5 x, bring to the front, negative 1, that makes positive, times 1 is just this, x raised to negative 1 minus 1, negative 2. This is it. You don't have to simplify, but if you like, this is root 5 over 2, that's negative exponent, put on the bottom, x raised to 1/2, which is root x, plus root 5 over negative, that means we can put x square on the bottom. Okay, let's go to the next question. So let me erase these. Okay, here let me rewrite this function. This is same as 1/2 fifth root of x is x raised to 1/5. Okay, is a constant xn, so use the power rule. 1/2 times xn, so n x n minus 1, 1/5 minus 1, negative 4/5. You don't have to simplify, but this is 1 times 1, 1 over 10. Negative exponent, put on the bottom, x raised to 4/5. Okay, here f of t, like x, we have now t, so its derivative is, we got two terms, just use the power rule, negative t squared, it's like negative xn, it's like then from power rule 2t, it's like x squared is 2x, so this 2t, 2 minus 1, which is 1, don't have to write, plus, it's like xn again from power rule n, so that negative 2, so I'm not writing plus, and negative 2 is just minus 2, t and negative 2 minus 1 with negative 3. Okay, now let's move to the next question, and we don't have to simplify. The best we can do is t to the negative 3, put on the bottom, and negative is gone. So let me rewrite, because we don't have the fraction rules yet. Okay, 1 over x is same as x raised to negative 1, minus 3 is already on the top. On the bottom we got cube root of x. Cube root of x is x raised to 1/3, move up, x raised to negative 1/3. Now we need to use power rule in both terms. So the derivative is xn means n x n minus 1, negative 1 minus 1, negative 2, minus 3 times xn, so n negative 1/3, that makes positive 1/3, x raised to negative 1/3 minus 1, negative 4/3, negative 1/3 minus 1. 1 is 3/3, negative 3/3 and negative 1/3, negative 4/3. If you want to simplify, no need to, but this can be simplified as negative x raised to negative 2, put on the bottom, so negative 1 over x squared. Okay, this can be done. And 3 cancel here. Negative exponent, put on the bottom, plus 1 over x raised to 4/3. Okay, in the end, so let's find the derivative. We got bunch of terms here. X cube, okay, just from power rule, 3x squared minus 4x squared, 4 times 2, 8x, 8x, 2 minus 1 is 1, plus pi x, pi is a constant, so pi survives, times derivative of x is 1, so this pi, minus derivative of 17 is 0. Okay, constant function 0, you don't have to write. Here let's do this. The prime is from power rule 4 times 3, 12x 3, minus 5x is just 5 times 1, just 5, plus e raised to x, that's an exponential function. As we know, derivative of ex is itself ex, plus x raised to e, this is not exponential function, is like we can use the power rule, because the x raised to some number, x raised to number from the power rule, this number e, because the e is an irrational number whose value is about 2.7, so e x e minus 1. Okay, so next, we got fractions, so we need to get rid of these fractions. Cube root of x is x raised to 1/3 on the bottom, move up, x raised to negative 1/3, similarly x raised to negative 2. Now we can apply power rules in each term. Xn, so n x n minus 1, negative 1/3 minus 1, negative 1/3 minus 1, negative 4/3, plus xn, so n x n minus 1, negative 2 minus 1, negative 3. I don't have to simplify. In Q, we got a product here, and we don't have the product rule yet, so I'm gonna multiply. Simplify means just FOIL and add 1, then we can take the derivative. Okay, let's FOIL this, and that is 3t times t, 3t squared, 3t times plus 2, 6t, minus t, minus 2, and outside is plus 1, which is in fact 3t squared plus 6t minus 1t plus 5t, and minus 2 plus 1 is just minus 1. Okay, so we simplified this function. Now we can easily find the derivative. It's not difficult now. G prime is, it's like x, okay, 3t squared, so 2 times 3, 6t, because we need to decrease the exponent by 1, 6t, plus derivative of 5t is just 5, minus derivative of 1 is 0, so 6t plus 5. Here we got another product, so v squared times 2v minus 7. So let's simplify. So distribute here. V squared times 2v cubed when we multiply, minus v squared times 7, 7v squared. So we have this function. Now we want to take the derivative. V is like x, okay? So 3 times 2, 6v squared, minus 2 times 7, 14v. We have to decrease the exponent by 1. Here it's done. Next we need to distribute here as well. Root s is s raised to 1/2, okay, and when we multiply inside, this is s raised to 1/2 times s means s raised to 1. Now we need to add the exponents, So 1 half plus 1 is 3 halves. So when we distribute, this becomes s raised to 1 half plus 1 3 halves minus root s times 1 is just root s, which is s raised to 1 half. So we have like x raised to n, x raised to n. So use the power rule in both. So the derivative is from power rule n 3 halves, yes, 3 halves minus 1 half, minus same thing, this to the n, so n, yes, 1 half minus 1, negative 1 half. This is it. And last question, we got a fraction here. So let me get rid of this fraction. So we can separate into 3 fractions: x squared over x plus x over x plus 1 over x. Let's simplify. So x squared over x, one copy cancel from top and bottom, just x lives on the top, plus x over x is 1 plus 1 over x. We need to get rid of this fraction, move this up, so x raised to negative 1. Now we got 3 terms and we can find the derivative as follows. Derivative of x is 1, okay, plus derivative of 1 is 0, I don't have to write, plus it's like x n, so n x n minus 1, negative 1 minus 1, negative 2. This is it. Don't have to simplify, but the best you can do is 1, here is minus, put this on the bottom, negative 1 over x squared. Okay, final.